the third big test for Oregon, the Penn State test, they passed. I know it doesn't look as shiny and impressive as it did the day after, but I still believe you went in and beat a good Penn State team, and then they fell off after that game. And then Indiana comes in, and you fail your second big test as they beat you in your own house. And since then, it's been playing some, not as good teams, having some, mixed bag performances. And now you have to go to Iowa, a place that is tough to play, against a traditional Iowa defense that is going to give you nothing easy. You're going to have to go earn everything. And that's why the spread is only, 5.5, 6.5?
6.5.
Yep, it's a one-possession spread on the road at Iowa. Your biggest key for this game, JP?
Ball security for Oregon. I think being able to extend drives by not turning the ball over will help them the most in this game. Of course, Iowa has another Iowa offense. Mark Gronowski has 4 passing touchdowns this year through 8 games, which is diabolical.
That is diabolical. He does have 11 on the ground, but 4 passing is brutal. How many games do you think it's been since Iowa's had a 300-yard passer?
Schubert. It's certainly pre-COVID. I don't know, a decade?
73 games. The next closest FBS team is 30 games with Northwestern.
Diabolical. No, I think, that's insane. The biggest key for me is ball security. Weather is going to be treacherous, which is something Jack didn't highlight in that little preview, but that is a big talk for this game on Saturday. We are projected to have wind speeds that could range from 10 to 15 miles per hour, 80% chance of rain, and it's not just like drizzling. We could get a quarter of an inch during the game, which if you don't follow rain, that's a lot of rain. It should be a lot of rain in this game. It won't be like the rain in the Indiana-Oregon game where there was just a little bit. This is a lot of rain. It'll look a lot like that Wisconsin game that they played last week or 2 weeks ago. Oregon, they're comfortable with that kind of weather. They play in Oregon. Now, apparently, there's a phrase. They use the same phrase that LSU uses, apparently, that it never rains in Autzen Stadium. So I don't know the validity on that.
I don't know either.
Because I do know the validity on that with LSU. I can't remember the last time it's rained down there. And I know that they use that there, but they use that for Oregon. It will rain this Saturday for Iowa, so I think Oregon fans have been concerned about that with Kinnick Stadium. But it is really all ball security, protecting the football. This Iowa defense is another great Iowa defense. They play the special teams game. They play complementary football, field position, I should say. All of that. They play all of that. That is how Iowa plays football. Oregon has to protect the football and be able to go on 3 extended drives that result in touchdowns.
Yeah.
And that should be all they need to do to win this game on Saturday. The question will be, can they even pull that off? Indiana, one of the most high-powered offenses in the country, who's been blowing out everyone, scored 20 points in Kinnick Stadium, 20-15.
Yeah.
So even Indiana and their high-powered offense could not get it going for a extended 4 quarters against Iowa. Oregon, we kind of view as a lesser offense a little bit clearly. They showed that in the Indiana game. You don't want to be in that same spot because Iowa can get 14 points on you and feel very comfortable with. If you asked Iowa fans, we scored 14 points on Saturday, how confident do you feel we win? They probably say 50-50. I think they'd feel that confident considering the weather. So Oregon's guy, I think Oregon has to win the race. We can call this our race to 20 game.
It's in my notes. It's the first thing I wrote in my thing is, can you get to 20-plus points?
Yeah, go ahead on that.
So I completely agree. We talked about Indiana going in there, and I did a lot of research on really both games, the Oregon game against Indiana and the Iowa game against Indiana, and just looking at how both teams held up. It's a common opponent. It's really both of their biggest tests of the season. So I thought it was just a great litmus test. And it wasn't that Oregon Indiana beat Oregon. I'd say Indiana looked like the better team, but it wasn't like I was like, oh, this Oregon team is bad. And then obviously Iowa also lost. But what Iowa did was, highly impressive against the Indiana team, and it shows me that's why I think it's going to be the race to 20 game. Because if Indiana only scored 20, and this Oregon team has a great rushing attack just like Indiana, and they can throw the ball around just like Indiana. But Iowa's just kind of foolproof in that regard. They're not going to give up explosive plays. They're going to make you earn it. They're probably going to force a turnover or two. Like you said, it's crucial that Oregon holds on to the football.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even think points are going to be a premium this game. I think yards are going to be a premium, and that's why turnovers are so important. Gronowski threw 2 picks in the Indiana game, so he also needs to be clean because if yards are going to be at a premium, the last thing you want to do is let someone have a 30-yard touchdown drive. That's going to be the difference in the game.
Oh, yeah, and it's likewise for Dante Moore in the Indiana game, the one game they lost. It's 20-20 in the fourth quarter. Tipped ball, pick 6, and then he has another pick driving down the field when it's 27-20 again. That's the difference in the game. That Oregon probably wins that in the fourth quarter, tied in a game against Indiana, but Dante Moore turns the ball over. So, I agree completely, 100%. Obviously, a pick 6 would probably be the turning point in the game.
Yeah.
But really, any turnover on your own side of the field will really, really affect this game. Arm punts, which a lot of people love, I don't think matter as much. And so maybe that could be a bad luck stat.
Sure.
When you look at this game on Sunday. But, yeah, turnovers, I agree, 100%. So critical to this game. I can't wait. Kinnick Stadium is going to be great. It's another pretty solid game on CBS. They haven't gotten as many as we would have hoped. We all miss SEC on CBS because
of course
it's electric, and instead they have to go to what was the game last week? It was Indiana, I think, at Wisconsin. Or 2 weeks ago.
Crazy.
It's just like this is a bad game. This one will I hopefully live up to the aura that CBS football can have.
I think it will. I'm very excited for this game. It's the talking about. I expect it to be a defensive showdown. My worry for Iowa is they cannot pass the football.
Mm-hmm.
So their run game's really good, but Oregon can just go into the game and be like, we just got to shut down the run game. We don't really got to worry about the pass. Whereas on the flip side, I love Iowa's defense is playing great, but at least Oregon has different angles they can attack it from with their run game, with their good receivers, with Dante Moore. They have a lot more they can throw at Iowa, and Iowa kind of has the 2 options of you run the quarterback or you let the running back carry the rock. I mean, their leading receiver has 200 yards. Shout out Sam Phillips, not trying to dog on him, but it's just it's not what they do. It's simply not what they do. So I wonder if Dan Lang and Oregon go, we are totally fine with this being a race to 20 game because we think we can win the race to 20, and it'll be another 20-15 score like the Indiana-Iowa game was.
Yeah. We can get into picking this one.
Let's do it.
I just want to throw it out there because it's the only time, unless Iowa wins, we'll ever get to mention this, but Iowa has playoff hopes.
That they do.
If they win this game, next week they'll play at USC in the Coliseum, which that'll be a tough test. But if they are able to pull those 2 out, you'll be favored against Michigan State and Nebraska, and then Iowa at 10-2 might be an at-large spot, which will be diabolical for Iowa to be in a playoff game.
Yeah.
For that to be on
crazy
national television. That would be diabolical. Iowa has that chance somehow because their 2 losses, you have to remember, are in Ames against Iowa State when Iowa State was kind of rolling at that point, and Indiana, who is the second or best team in the country, depending on who you ask. That being said, the spread is 6.5. If there's like a list of head coaches in college football that I just trust in spots like this, the list is really, really short. Kirby Smart, Kalen DeBoer if it's at home, which we'll get into next week with Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And Dan Lanning. There's just something about it. I just trust him in this kind of game because really his only kryptonite he's ever had is Kalen DeBoer. Like that's the only team he consistently loses to was Kalen DeBoer in Washington. He, of course, lost to Ohio State, but Ohio State was guns blazing in the playoff last year.
Traded with him last year too. Like you did beat him once. So.
Absolutely. And I really trust Dan Lanning in this spot, so I'm going to take Oregon to win and to cover. I think we're looking at a 24-7 win for Oregon.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think it's going to be comfortable, though. I think it's going to be a tight first half, and then Oregon hits a couple cap busters, explosive plays in that third and fourth quarter. Maybe Gronowski turns the ball over on the Iowa side of the field, and the score doesn't look as close as the game kind of actually was.
Yeah.
Give me Oregon to win and cover. I just really trust Dan Lanning in this spot, and I think he'll have his team ready, even with this being kind of almost a look-ahead game with USC and the Washington game still left. Give me Oregon and the Ducks to win at Kinnick Stadium.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Dan Lanning's a football sicko. He relishes just this kind of game. The weather's bad. It's a defensive slugfest. He was a defensive guy at Georgia. So I think he lives for these kind of games. But since I'm calling it my race to 20, and I just think the score is going to be so compressed, I think Oregon's going to win.
Yeah.
But I think Iowa will cover the 6.5, so I'm going to take Iowa to cover. Sanders also has Iowa covering. And just for clarification, before we roll around to Sunday's show and I try and claim props, if this is even possible, 24, that counts as a race to 20 game. Anything sub 25 counts as a race to 20 game. You start hitting 28, 27, obviously 30. I won't count that as a race to 20. But 24, I would consider that a win. The first win for my race to 20 game, I might add. So probably I should just let it happen before I start trying to preemptively claim credit.